Hi there, I'm Bill Peterson, aka The White Tornado, and I'm here for Geek Funk Labs today to show you how you can create your own DIY software synthesizer using a Raspberry Pi and a MIDI controller. So what is MIDI? Well, MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface. It's a format for transmitting musical information between different devices. But it's not sending the recorded audio waveform of the sound. It's more like it's sending the sheet music that corresponds to what you're playing. Now, a MIDI controller is just a device that's designed to send those MIDI signals based on what notes you're playing, what buttons you're pushing, or what controls you're changing. In order to turn those MIDI signals into actual sounds, you need some sort of software synthesizer. The nice thing about MIDI controllers, though, is that if you have one you really like, you can use it with lots of different software synthesizers and software instruments. For our software synthesizer, we're going to install a program on the Raspberry Pi called FluidSynth. A FluidSynth is an open source software synthesizer that uses soundfonts. Soundfonts are an open file format that use sample-based synthesis to produce musical sounds. You can create and edit your own sound fonts using different programs you can find on the internet, and there are also a lot of free sound fonts out there that are available that are quite good. Now, to put all of this together, we're going to use some code that I wrote called Fluid Patcher. Fluid Patcher will start up FluidSynth for us, and it also allows us to use patches, which are just collections of different settings for the instruments we want and what effects we want to have, and it allows us to switch back and forth between those patches on the fly while we're playing. So, let's get started!
The first thing we need to do is install the necessary software on the Raspberry Pi. Here I'm connected remotely to my Pi from my Windows box using an SSH program, but you can just plug in a monitor and keyboard and type in the commands that way. There's a link in the video description to a GitHub gist that has all the commands I'm about to show you, so you can just copy and paste them from there. Now this command here is what actually installs FluidSynth. We're also installing a Python package manager. Fluid Patcher is a Python script and needs some extra modules, and we'll use this to install them. We're also installing Git, which is how we get the Fluid Patcher code itself. This will probably take a few minutes to complete. Next, we install the Python modules we need. This is how we get the Fluid Patcher code. Then we use this command to move that code into the Pi user's home directory. The script we're going to be using is this one called headlesspy.py. If you go into this squishbox directory, and then into the banks directory, you'll see this bank0.yaml file. That bank contains the patches that you're going to hear. And this is what that bank file actually looks like. I'll put a link down in the video description to the wiki that describes the formatting of these bank files, so you can come back here and edit and create your own patches. Once we start the Raspberry Pi up, we're going to need a way to switch between different patches while we're playing. The way the script does this is by listening for specific control change messages on a certain channel. These two pads on my MIDI controller will send out control changes 27 and 28 on MIDI channel 10 when I press them. I know because I set it up that way. Right here at the top of the Headless Pi script is where those values are set. You should modify these to work with a couple of the buttons on your MIDI controller. Now we want to set up this script to run when the Raspberry Pi starts. To do that, we'll modify this script called rc.local. Go down to the bottom of the file, and just above the last line, add this command. Finally, let's use the ALSA Mixer program to make sure the volume of the headphone jack is at a reasonable level. Alright, that's enough command line nonsense. Time to reboot, plug in, and get funky. Okay, now that we have our software installed, we just need to plug in our USB keyboard, plug in some headphones, and plug in a 5-volt adapter and wait for things to boot up. The click you heard was FluidSynth starting. We've got a basic FM electric piano. We can choose the next patch by using the pads here, like I said. We've got just synth sound. This one splits the keyboard, FM piano on top, and a bass synth on the bottom. This is a weird one with fifths on the top half of the keyboard and the lower half is reversed. And this last patch is an analog synthesizer where we can control the filter cutoff frequency with Control Chain 74. There's some volume, and some reverb, a little pitch bend, modulation. Yeah, now we're funky.
So I hope this has shown you how you can create a useful little DIY synthesizer that you can experiment with, and also giving you a chance to try out Fluid Patcher. In case you're interested, I built this synthesizer into a guitar stomp box, added a couple buttons and a screen, and a nice sound card with some audio outputs that can go to your mixer or amp. I call it the Squish Box because it's a stomp box full of fluid. If you want to know how to make one yourself, or buy one from me, you can head over to geekfunklabs.com. Feel free to leave any feedback or questions in the comments down below, and thanks for watching.